on this champion duo in the past 20 games, throwing it back to probably spring. And that's the 13th game for missing on this Rakan as well.
God, if he just locks in. Why not, though? I mean, you can still feel pretty confident in jungle in third pick if you want to go for it and just make sure you get this Rakan locked away. That comfort, that cohesion for missing, so important for JDG. And I do expect a lot of this kind of wombo combo style situation coming out, especially with JDG lending their hand to the Ahri. It's all about combining and finding those pickouts.
Yeah, you still have something like the Aphelios available for the side of NIP, and they can also lock in a utility mid laner, which we will see in the TF. And I love this pick from Angel. He's just such a standout player when he is on this champion, making those macro plays around Invincible, where he is able to play something like the split push in terms of either the Gwen or the Jax up against 369, where he has been enjoying those tanks in the top side, especially blind. But we'll have to wait and see, because this Kai'Sa, I mean, there's a new build for her. It's the Shiv, it's the Nash's second. And she does have to really rely on that third item, so it does stall out the game quite a bit for JDG to poke at them.
And I do see some iterations of the traditional, Kraken Slayer style build for Kai'Sa sometimes, but you do like that pressure you can give by insta-clearing the wave. Also, it's just special shout out to Angel. Twisted Fate is a comfort for this man, right? He has almost a 60% win rate on 34 games on the TF. It is static Shiv meta, but maybe it's just Angel meta at this point, as we did see that Wukong locked away and locked in for JDG.
You know what's cursed, Mazel? It's that not only Kai'Sa can go Shiv, Ahri and TF can also both go Shiv. And in the current meta, it's just who can camp the other person harder to deny that first item spike pretty much wins the game. We saw that in JDG's game up against Top Esports, where it was the Tristana versus LeBlanc matchup, and Kanavi was pretty much living in mid lane, and it really just allowed Knight to get that first item around the 10-minute mark, and it was really hard for the enemy team to come back. But it's going to be really interesting how NIP is going to narrow down on the ADC choices, because we still have something like the Aphelios up and available for him to take as well. But he hasn't been the biggest fan with sitting on Xayah as that most played in the summer split. But I want to focus in on the top lane matchup.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because 369, I mean, we talked about how he is a huge fan of blinding something like the Cassante or the Ornn, as he is playing for those major team fights, getting onto the carries and just being a bit of a nuisance as that main engagement. Invincible, give him something like the Jax to kind of bounce off, giving him the counter matchup like the Gwen allows Angel to have a second win con in this game.
I really like that focus, but I think it'll be curious the second phase to see how that really comes into clarity. I do really find curious the Neela ban as well, just trying to get something in bot lane focus, but as well as the Renekton ban, something that's so crucial right now in the meta. We get the Nautilus Gnar ban from JDG and that pickup of the Tristana that has risen like a rocket through the roof in priority, and now can be that bot lane for Ruler and a lot of carry potential as well.
Tristana is definitely a very unique champion for the LPL, as we know that LCK teams have been enjoying this champion quite a lot in the mid lane as that response to the Shiv meta. But of course, in the ADC position in LPL, it's a classic, and Ruler wants to deny that first item spike from Photic on this Kai'Sa. But the Rel is going to be quite the interesting one. She has received a huge change where she was disabled in the previous patch. So I'm very excited to see how Zhuo is going to pilot this champion with so much hard engage for the side of NIP.
Oh, I love the Rel right now. The fact that it's enabled, it's back, it's ready to go. I've seen it a ton in NACL, and now getting to see it in the LPL, the best league in the world. I am so excited. Also, Zhuo, it fits his style. It fits that heavy engage style you want to see from him, and we got to see those combos come alive. Split pushing will be a big name of the game for NIP, while you get that Cassante locked in for 369, and that's a bit of a scary deal.
JDG doing classic team fight oriented drafts for this game one, as we have a relatively aggressive bottom lane duo coming out of both the Tristana and the Rakan. So I'm going to be really interested on how these two junglers are going to pub towards that bottom side, because we see that the iconic macro play for JDG is that they, I mean, it really depends on Missing, right? Because Missing, you often see him finding those angles and getting so many great engages onto the enemy team where they burn those summoner spells, and it allows Kanavi and Knight to roam towards that bottom side and deny XP and gold from this Kai'Sa. And especially if you want to go something like the Nashes and the Shiv, you really need that CS. So we'll have to wait and see how NIP is going to be able to deny this, as Angel, I mean, he's on the TF and he can match that wave clear up against the Ahri.
Yeah, you got to see how these lanes work out early on, especially NIP coming into this one as the underdogs, as they're trying to take a brick out of the golden road that JDG is currently trying to build for themselves. It's a kickoff series to our super week of week number 5 in the LPL, and it should be a doozy. We got all the static shivs you could ever want if you're an addict, or if you just like a little bit of static shiv action. It is all about early game. It's all about Kanavi and Shadow and how both teams come around them. And we're getting into game 1 now. Let those gyos ring. NIP versus JDG.
First of
Gotta
all,
love
Mazel,
the audience cheering.
love the energy from the boys in the live crowd. But Photic and Ruler, they're having a great Tuesday start as they're just vibing. Oh, I mean, it's a bit of a truce in the bottom lane, but I think.
Oh no! Okay, they give each other back. All right, no, they're good. They're good. They traded 1 shot back each. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's good. Everything's fine. It gives the little UV like, oh, guys. I love a little bit of action between Photic and Ruler. Honestly, Photic has been such a mainstay for NIP for V5. He's also been an all-star AD carry in the LPL. We had those moments where V5 were looking like some of the best team compositions that we've had in our league, right? But then the faltering, the breaking of the heart of V5, and Photic still standing strong through all that, I think, is a testament to his will, but also his strength as an ADC. And now going against Ruler, be a little bit more difficult.
A little bit more difficult, but he has to stand out as he has the Kai'Sa for this game 1, taking the Hob on the rune page, which I'm assuming he's going to go the Kraken Slayer build and be that main carry in these team fights. But I'm really worried for the side of NIP as they have slightly low range when it comes to these major team fights. So Kanavi and Knight can find really easy angles to get onto Photic as that solo carry, as I'm assuming Invincible, he does want to be mostly in that side lane. So we'll have to wait and see how Zhuo is going to be able to play around Photic, because I love how NIP's kind of adapted into a playstyle where they do only play for Photic and they play very well front to backs.
Yeah, and that's the kind of style right now that's set up really well for them. I think, we got a little bit of that glacial augment action from Zhuo on the rel, which I actually really appreciate, because once you get that crash down in, they are not leaving in that 2v2. But we actually want to check in on the bottom side pathings now that Kanavi and Shadow have finished their one side. They're maybe looking for a bit more aggression early on.
Angel did take the grass, so he does have that extra bit of sustain, but Knight most likely has to look for a flash E onto Angel if they want to commit to this.
Steps forward, and that's a beautiful flash charm from Knight. And the golden left hand sets up his jungler and Kanavi for first blood for JDG.
But Invincible is roaming towards his mid lane. He wants to stop this wave from pushing in. Angel has the TP though. Can he get his hand onto Knight?
Runs straight into that charm, does get the counter-strike off, but now he took that tower shot. He's gonna have to flash Shadows there to save the day, but Kanavi is a hungry monkey, and he takes his 2nd kill of the game. Should be traded right back over to NIP, giving this over to Angel. Could be huge. The yellow card did come through, and it will be Shadow that ends up getting the kill.
And in the end, JDG 2 kills onto Kanavi does mean he is going to be so much faster into getting that Sunderer as that first item on the Wukong. And for some reason, JDG, I mean, most of the damage is from Kanavi if he gets ahead, especially on the Wukong. So it's going to be very scary for NIP, but we expected action in the early game, and NIP is kind of delivering.
I'm just happy we're not sitting at 2 kills in 20 minutes. We got all the action you could ever want here. But I do expect, that continuous turn-up in action. A lot of early game-centered compositions. We also, too, see a pretty aggressive 2v2 down here in the constant trades. Actually got Kanavi heading back towards this bottom side. Do wonder Shadow, after having full cleared that side, maybe trying to come influence his bottom lane, because we are so evenly stalemated here. Actually looks like he's going to start it back as we get a replay of that mid lane.
Yeah, and Angel, he used the W onto Knight with the red as well, so he does have that cooldown waiting for him as well. But Kanavi wrapping around from top side towards his bottom side. Angel didn't expect this, so he was hovering towards that bottom side. And really nice flash charm out of Knight as well, which he waited for Angel to use first. But, I mean, how do you react to this? Because Shadow was still trying to clear his red buff, but we're getting a dive!
The tower here! What is going on? JDG! They're just trying to flex all over NIP here. Kanavi goes down for a second time as Shadow has arrived. You get 2 kills for Ruler. Angel's here now too. And we got chaos early here, Kitty. As Knight's trying to make it away, does get Vault Breakered in the end. Angel has died to Ruler. One more auto. No, he heals. It's not enough. The fadeaway shot, and Ruler now has 3 kills out of seemingly nowhere. A magician with his hat.
Oh,
Can Shadow shut him down? No, give him a 4th kill, because why not?
He dodged it! Someone stop this menace on the Rift, man. Ruler just picked up 4 kills at 5 minutes from a bottom lane dive, and Photic missed out on 3 waves on this Kai'Sa. This could be the worst start that NIP could have prayed for, but we came back into this replay, and it's just a 4-man dive, as you expect out of JDG, and Photic losing around 2 to 3 waves here, and Ruler getting, I believe, 3 resets, just allowed him to do absolutely everything with that wall in the back. And Shadow, I mean, he did manage to pick up some kills, but there's just not enough damage from the TF and Vi in this skirmish.
I saw Ruler adjust his glasses after that play. He must have just seen, is that really 4 kills on my KDA? And you just got to expect that out of nowhere, Ruler now will just absolutely carry the game. And Photic is sitting over across from 0-1. Say, what happened, guys? Then all of a sudden the lane is going to be gone. And you get the flash from Shadow a little bit late.
It kind of just feels like you're watching a train wreck in slow motion, especially with Ruler also dodging out on that last Kai'Sa W. I mean, man sitting on that those items now, and it's going to be so scary up against double buffs as well. No summoners available for Photic, so it's going to be extremely hard for this NIP bottom lane to look for those engage angles. I mean, Angel is level 6, so there's still a chance, right, Mazel?
Yeah, still a chance. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. One of these days. Maybe it's Static Shiv that'll maybe be the difference. We do need that rush, though, coming through from Photic, because he needs to be able to clear the wave. Right now, Ruler will just constantly have push, and that gives so much decision-making power to JDG, and we've seen what happens when JDG have decision-making power around Summoner's Rift.
I mean, JDG bottom lane getting ahead early and having this lead. Name your more iconic duo, but Shadow is now level 6 and missing no flash.
Oh, the cease and desist is coming, but he rocket jump. I've never seen that. That's actually insane. He buffered an unstoppable ability. What a moment. At the last second, Ruler gets the rocket jump, and Shadow's gank goes wide.
And I'd be looking more CC because I just have a buffer ability on this Tristan. I mean, how does he get away without even burning the flash?
I've never seen
and
that.
Shadow has
I thought it was a full
here.
lockdown.
Yeah, I thought that would have been a kill, but Ruler's going in now.
Really good timing from Ruler, and then they can play aggressively back instantaneously because Kanavi is hovering. NIP, you got to get away from the tower. He's about to get dove. As the crash down comes in, this should be another plate over to Ruler.
I need to find out what Ruler's having for breakfast because I want what he's having. Now he's having another 2 plates for at least dinner in China and another perhaps extremely good early game for the side of JDG, but NIP desperately trying to look for something towards that top side, but the problem is that it's a Jax versus Cassante, and the best thing about 369 is that he's never going to be dying as that weak side for the side of JDG.
Yeah, it's going to be so difficult, at least from this point onwards. I don't think it's going to be an easy affair, and they're definitely going to have to find a way to make things work here. But it is still a road they must travel, Kitty, and it is JDG in a triumphant position right now. A lot of advantage gained from that bottom lane. But maybe you're looking somewhere else for NIP as well, getting out on the map, trying to influence a little bit of these solo lanes.
my main focus is that how we set up NIP for this composition to work around the Kai'Sa, but unfortunately she is now down 20 CS and there is no prior whatsoever for NIP to work off for Shadow and Zhuo, and that is getting rid of a huge element that NIP so desperately rely on when it comes to these skirmishes, because we say that they work perfectly off picks, but giving JDG this type of advantage is going to narrow down those angles so much, and I'm getting a little bit worried for NIP because they can't have Photic behind, so they do have to work off Angel and Shadow to find angles to shut down Rule, but he has double summoner, so they have to attempt it twice.
True. Why does it just keep getting worse, Kitty? It just keeps getting harder and harder. But you don't get that first item completed yet for Ruler. That's pretty nice. But you do get Missing, looking to dive onto Photic. Zhuo's on his way, but he ain't going to make it in time. Get the Destiny pop from Angel, trying to chase him down as Ruler. He gets the kill. Missing actually gets it, but the reset comes through from Ruler, and he can reposition now. They're in a bit of trouble here. Shadow has the cease and desist. I don't know if Ruler can get it that time. He should go down. They're all flashing for it, and Shadow gets the kill in the end. They should back away for this one as Knight is showing up for JDG, but they get a big shutdown.
Hey, they got Ruler's double summoners, and they also got that shutdown, like you said, but I feel like this game is mission shut down Photic in the early game, as he just missed out on another 2 waves. I mean, it was a really good proactive play from the mid jungle of NIP, as we see Knight also burning the TP, but he had to TP to the tower, so he couldn't reach in time. But this bottom side, it's a sign of hope, with also the Rift Herald not getting picked up, but Kanavi is towards that top side, and you see them all working towards there and making that vision control for JDG.
We'll get a replay of that one. This is just a strike coming a mile away from JDG onto Photic.
Yeah, you see that Missing allowing to have that vision control does go for that flank onto Photic. Double summoners burn from Ruler, not being able to cleanse that W from TF does buy 2 seconds of time, but ultimate and flash committed from Shadow does mean that Ruler finally dies, and Angel also commits the flash, but at least that's raid boss down, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Although, maybe if it's one of those raid bosses that comes back stronger the second time after you kill it once. Hopefully that's not the case here. He did get Kraken Slayer, so maybe it is the case. That's just canon at this point. They did also take the Rift Herald, so a lot more pressure available on the map. You also have movement from Ruler to mid lane, more plates in tow, and potentially a first tower for JDG.
Angel does not have flash for this mid lane dive, but Missing, he does see Zhuo hovering, so it might not go into the hands of JDG, but that's a tower, and 5 plates into Kanavi's pockets. He's already sitting on the Sundera.
Yeah, that's just insane. As that actually is a nice charm. Knight!
What?
Decisive as ever! Golden left hand of JDG with the solo! Look at his laugh.
Let's give Photic a break. He's just catching strays under this tower for the past 12 minutes. But we'll get a replay of what happened towards this top side, as we have Ruler getting engaged on.
Shadow's just so angry right now. He's like, Ruler, you cannot keep getting away from me like this. And Ruler just keeps rocket jumping away. Ta-ta!
Doesn't matter if you burn double summoners from this Tristana, because she can just reset with the W and run 2 screens away. But Photic once again making his way towards that mid lane, but Knight picking up those plates for himself in the bottom side does mean it's going to open up the map so much, as that bottom tier 1 will fall eventually. But NIP, this composition, it really relies on those picks and how Angel utilizes this ultimate. However, we haven't seen that too much, so hopefully, I mean, Invincible on this Jax, he's down 40 CS, but if you get to the 3 item stage, that is still a win con for NIP to win on.
At this point, though, we're saying that about everything, you know, but if you just get there, you know, you just gotta get there. You just, you know, you gotta get there.
All right, someone check Knight's PC, because he just landed 2 E's onto Photic. I believe Photic had that ultimate available as well, but he just wasn't able to react to this last E hitting, as he was desperately trying to get some CS on the tower. Just a crumb, please, JDG. A crumb of CS.
Just a crumb. Not for you today, Photic. Sitting at 0-3, got Destiny popped in the side lane. Knight is going to pop that Spirit Rush still. Oh. Okay, NIP, we're worried about the collapse that was on its way for JDG. They decided not to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, JDG was clearing out some vision in that mid lane, so NIP did call up this gank onto Knight, but that is going to be the Spirit Rush unavailable for this Ahri, so I don't think they're going to be able to find any pick. Shadow's on the other side of the map, and we were talking about this.
Secret Agent Shadow.
Shadow is probably our favorite player on NIP. He just brings so much chaos onto the Rift, and he's so unpredictable as well, so we stand him.
It was so interesting when he came over from Mad Lions to the LPL, right? And we got to see a lot of him on LGD and never found real success with them, right? He was an aggressive jungler that continuously went for picks and tried to find avenues. But with NIP, it's worked out pretty well. And a shadow from the backside brings in a kill for Angel. And you have a nice little move from NIP on the side. But now Invincible, it's some trouble. Okay, who's gonna get it? JDG's 369, of course. Roll those dice and it comes up all nines, baby.
All nines, and K'Sante getting a solo kill on to Jax, but NIP trying to scramble back into this game through these picks. We can't have the solo laners losing 1v1 like this, but hopefully, I mean, getting those slight picks on tonight is going to be a ray of sunlight, because I think that was a little bit disrespectful from the Ahri.
Yeah.
How they're still going to naturally pick up the second dragon.
We did end up getting the Kraken Slayer build actually for Photic. So what I've read and heard, I actually talked to Arrow, if anybody knows Arrow, you know, from KT Rollster days, a good guy over on TLC, and I was talking with him yesterday, and he was saying, you know, the static Shiv build for Kai'Sa is much more solo queue. You have a lot more strength in the side lane, you have a lot more strength in yourself, but you want to go for a late game damage dealer if you're in a team style composition. I like this call from Photic, because I think the Kraken Slayer build for the Kai'Sa is going to be super unlocking into the style of comp that JDG have. We're going to take a look and maybe talk about that after, as we did get Invincible versus 369.
Wow, 369 spaced this so well. He pretty much got 3 Qs onto this Jax without Invincible kind of responding in any type of way. And I mean, K'Sante doing K'Sante things, does manage to get that final Q onto this Jax. It's just so impossible to 1v1 the K'Sante at that first item stage. You really depend on those 3 item spikes. You don't even have the damage to kill 369 here, I don't think, from the side of NIP.
I don't think you want that smoke.
Towers.
I just don't think you want it. You look at 369 not taking any damage there, like maybe he takes a 1v2 here.
I'm pretty sure he 1v2s there if NIP goes for the tower dive, as Shadow is backing on a ward, so 369 being a little bit of a cheeky bastard. No. He's gonna look for a kill perhaps
he didn't get
onto
the pushback
Shadow
though, but he's looking for the all out. He goes for it, and another solo for 369, man. Somebody check those dice.
I mean, I love K'Sante, guys. What's the copy pasta again? Get that going in the Twitch chat, because Shadow, his Q got cancelled by the knockup from the Q3 in 369, and that's also going to be a top tier 1 tower going to the hands of JDG, while they were secretly achieving through the bottom side as well.
God.
I mean, the map is getting destroyed right now.
Just one fell swoop at 16.5 minutes, and they're about to lose an inhib tower here to JDG. Luckily, you have that full clear style coming out for those minions, as Zhuo actually going for an engage onto Kanavi and missing, trying to get some damage follow-up, but it's missing. That follows up with the charm. Knight's here as well, and it's all gone to hell in a handbasket right now for NIP. You tried your hardest, but in the end, did it even matter? And JDG says no.
Look away, NIP fans. This is a massacre at 17 minutes.
No way.
They're just going to take the inhibitor, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Baron isn't even up and available. They want to end the game very early on, as there's only 2 people alive.
They have the TPs. Oh my God, they're actually just going to hit the game right now. This could be our fastest game with a split by far, by a mile, and it's JDG using NIP to put more bricks into their road right now. It's the last Nexus tower here, but a fight back comes from NIP. JDG have overextended, but have they? As Invincible almost goes down, he heals up, and that means that JDG need to get out of there. Kanavi had already fallen.
Bit of a YOLO play from JDG.
You do get the Destiny pop. Invincible's trying to make it around here. Ruler goes preemptively onto Angel. Ruler should go down here. One more auto attack. They find him. Angel gets them on the back line. As I got the follow-up from NIP. And this was JDG on the precipice of getting an early finish, but then it cost them almost everything.
Almost everything, but luckily Baron and Dragon isn't available on the map. I doubt NIP is going to even find an angle to get that Rift Herald into their pockets, but that is going to be extra gold into both the jungler and mid laner of NIP. Unfortunately, no kills on the Kai'Sa or Jax either way, so I feel like JDG, they were a little bit impatient, definitely going for the fastest game time we have in the LPL summer split, but just a little bit greedy, Mazel.
Just a little bit greedy. We'll see if they want to turn back over and try to get this Rift Herald before it despawns. But they wanted to go for it. They wanted to try to find the end, and they could see it was right there, but a bit of an overextension, the respawning bodies of NIP.
Yeah, there were no minions available for a good 5 seconds, so you have 369 getting chunked out, also missing getting chunked down. Kanavi died to the tower here, surprisingly. And that became a 4v5 while everyone was so low on HP, and especially Ruler not having that mana available either. And a TP from Angel, getting that flank in his pockets onto this AD carry where he does have no flash. So, I mean,
that's why you take Grasp.
That's why you take Grasp
alive.
and Static Shiv, I guess. But a few kills, you need to do that a couple more times for them to kind of get back into this game, because they're going to try again to end the game.
They got to get back into a defensive position for NIP, because JDG just want blood. As they use that Rift Arrow, they're maybe looking for a dancing one here. We'll see if they can finish the game quickly. One big catch out could be it. The cease and desist overextended from Shadow, and they turn right on him. That's going to mean resets for Ruler, and this Rift Arrow's already broken down the towers. JDG, if they put the finishing touches here, right now, right here, they have the fastest game in Summer Split. As they're trying to get kills, they turn onto the Nexus. Maybe one more goes over, but now they know the true prize, and it's the Nexus and the fastest game of LPL Summer Split 2023.
All right, GG, fellow NIP fans, because that was quite the entertaining game one to this series. But we all talked about how NIP, they want to fasten the tempo. It's definitely a fast game, but not for their end.